A worker at London's Royal Albert Hall stole more than 42,000 pounds worth of microphones. 58 mics in total in 2 separate incidents. Biggest drop ball here, nobody deactivated his access card, which he discovered when he came back for his dismissal appeal, and he walked straight into the storage room.
That's somebody in HR.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's what we're going to get into. It's HR? Is it facilities? Is it security? What the heck?
If this article proves anything, theft doesn't usually look like Ocean's 11. It's just somebody with badge access and a really good poker face.
To get away clean from an office, it's okay to run. People run out of offices all the time. If the look on your face says, I'm in a hurry, you can go as fast as you want.
Thank you.
It's all about covering ground before the yelling starts.
Hey! Hey, stop!
Neat gets a new CEO, Infocom gets a keynote speaker, and the impact of tariffs on your project's budget. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 781, recorded Friday, March 20th, 2026, The Waiting Game. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV and the IT world. The war in the Middle East is rippling through the AV industry. Neat has a new CEO, and a new competition just opened up, and it's putting real money behind women-led startups in AV and tech. Let's get into it. The war in Iran is doing something our industry hasn't seen in a long time. It's postponing live events across an entire region. 2 more shows just announced delays. The TPMEA Awards, that's the Middle East Premier Live Events Production Awards show, has moved from May to September. The inaugural IAPA Expo Middle East, the attractions industry's big regional launch in Abu Dhabi, has been pushed all the way to April of 2027. Those aren't isolated. British Airways has suspended flights to Dubai, Bahrain, and Amman through the end of May. Flight restrictions are grounding entire attendee bases. Informa has moved its 50,000-person energy show in Dubai to September. One senior agency leader said it plainly. Anything planned in the Middle East for the next 8 weeks is being moved or canceled. Neat has a new CEO, and this hire is not a maintenance move, it is a directional signal. Javed Khan comes from 2 very specific places. He was Senior VP and General Manager of Cisco Collaboration, meaning he led the WebEx hardware and devices turnaround. Before that, he ran Intelligent Edge Solutions at Aptiv, covering robotics, aerospace, and automotive. Neat is explicitly calling this a move toward intelligent edge computing. That's the idea that AI processing lives in the room, in the device itself, not in the cloud. Faster, more private, and less dependent on network conditions. Khan said it directly, recent advantages in edge computing and large language models are now allowing AI to be embedded in conference room devices. He says Neat has a unique opportunity to lead that transition. In other news, a new competition just opened, and it matters for the long-term health of this industry. The Women in AV and Tech Startup Prize has launched and is now accepting submissions. It's backed by Avixa's Women's Council and was created by Alex Kamanis and Dino Dramakis to build a long-term platform for early-stage women founders in AV. Now, here's how it works. Founders from anywhere in the world can enter, whether they are building directly in AV or adjacent to it. You submit a pitch deck of up to 20 slides and a short founder video. The jury is looking at problem relevance, market understanding, and your path to building something real. The winner gets $15,000 in cash. The announcement happens April 22nd. Submissions are now open. Moving from people to policy, Plenio has become the world's first AV and unified communications manufacturer to earn ISO 42001 certification. Now, that certification is the international standard for responsible AI governance. What does that actually mean? It means Plenio can demonstrate how its AI makes decisions, how data is handled, where human oversight applies, and how risks are identified and managed. The certification covers the AI built into their Room OS platform, features like AI auto deploy, AI noise sense, and machine learning based room optimization. Now, all of it runs locally on the device, no cloud dependency. CEO James Knight framed it this way: we are at the peak of the first major wave of AI adoption in meeting spaces. What happens next will determine whether intelligent systems become dependable infrastructure or whether uncertainty around governance slows enterprise deployment. Finally, InfoComm 2026 has announced its keynote speaker, and the pick is a statement. Ilya Bookstein is Microsoft's corporate VP for Teams calling, devices, and premium experiences. His portfolio is the entire stack. Teams Phone, Teams Rooms, Teams Events, Teams Premium. If it touches communication and collaboration in the enterprise, Ilya owns it inside Microsoft. Now, he'll take the stage on Wednesday, June 17th at the Las Vegas Convention Center. InfoComm, of course, itself runs the 13th through the 19th. The exhibits run June 17th through the 19th. His theme, the next evolution of AI in the workplace, specifically what he's calling agentic coworkers, AI that doesn't just assist people, but actively multiplies what they can do, and how that plays out in physical spaces, the rooms we all design and deploy. That's your AV news for the week. Stick around for this week's Roundtable, where we'll discuss tariff uncertainty and succession plans. That conversation is next. This is AV Week.
Hey listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
Welcome back. Now we bring in our fantastic roundtable with us to discuss a couple more items. First and foremost, Jennifer Weaver, how are you, ma'am?
I am well. It's great to see you. It's been a long time.
It has, and it's funny. Two of the folks on this call have brand new jobs, so we'll start with yours. Congratulations. Where are you working now, and what are you doing?
So thank you. I am the Senior Director for US and Canada at AVIXA. So my focus is member engagement, being out with the members, committees and councils, ensuring what AVIXA has to offer is getting out there to the members within the US and making sure that what the members are saying and want to voice, it comes to me, and then I can help elevate that in any way, shape, or form that I can.
Very cool. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Vanessa Tolosano is a woman I got to meet through our friend Mr. Chris Netto. Last time I talked to her, she worked for one company. Now she works for another. Ms. Tolosano, welcome, ma'am. Where are you working now?
Hi, Tim. I have moved on over to CTI, where I am the program manager over here now. So I am giving those clients the white glove service and working with all of our different internal teams to deliver high quality projects. So super excited to be here and nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. And this is where I remind folks that AVNation is ran by or owned by CTI and John Laughlin. So Vanessa and I can teams each other now. So that is one thing that I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing for her, but she can indeed. And last but not least, a young man I got to see physically in person in Washington, D.C. this week, Dan Farisi from Commercial Integrator. How are you, sir?
I am well. Good to see you again, Tim. I know I'm going to see you next week as well. So we're on the traveling circuit together. But thank you for inviting me. Always appreciate the opportunity.
We are indeed. I saw Dan at Alamo E4 in D.C., and we will see each other and hang out at ISC West in Vegas this coming week. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, first story actually comes to us from Commercial Integrator. Matt Levine from Bug ID. They're our design build AV integration firm, the Bay Area. He wrote in Commercial Integrator about, quite frankly, the war and tariffs. According to Matt, after the Supreme Court struck down the Liberation Day tariffs, a new thing, Section 122 duties, they kind of came in and filled up that gap. That means that there's a whole lot of uncertainty here. Levine describes a market where suppliers have gone radio silent, quote unquote, price lock windows are shrinking, and profit margins are interesting. Nobody exactly knows exactly what cost will come next month or next year or next quarter. However, the bigger warning here is this. Elevated prices are most likely here to stay, just like fuel surcharges became a fixture in shipping invoices a couple of years ago. What this means for end users, what this means for the industry, we're going to find out. Jennifer, I'm going to start with you on this because of your position, not just at AVWeek, but also Jennifer's been heavily involved in the HECMA community for a long time, with ETC, with a number of other AV and IT director organizations. What has both the tariffs and by extension the new conflict in Iran, what is that doing to projects? What is that doing to supply chain? What is that doing to confidence about their projects coming to fruition by the time they need it to?
Everybody's kind of waiting, right? They're in that waiting stage of what's going to happen. Like you said, when is my project going to happen? Do I just wait to purchase product when my project's going to happen? Do I purchase product now because I know my project is potentially going to happen? But then the question comes in, well, what if something changes? What if I change and now I just purchased all of this equipment? What do I do with it? It's fluid, I think. Like, I don't think there is that full answer to say, what do we do with our projects, not knowing how much it's going to cost. The other thing that comes into it is a lot of these are budgeted a year, 2 years back, or they're starting to budget for a year, 2 years forward. How do you budget for that when you don't know? And now when you're ready to introduce the project, you went, I budgeted 100,000, and because of all of this other stuff, it's going to cost me 200,000. What do? I need it, or do I cut back, or do I not do it? And nobody has a great answer, and nobody really knows what to do.
Vanessa, I'm going to ask you a difficult question here. How do you communicate fluid to an IT director? How do you communicate the uncertainty of prices to an IT director? One of the things, really quickly, one of the things that we talked about a year ago, right after the Liberation Day tariffs, a number of integrators and manufacturers, for that matter, they were shortening the length of time that their quotes were good for. Everything, I mean, I heard as little as 7 days. Not seven business days, 7 actual calendar days. So this is good for 7 days. If you pull the trigger, awesome. If you don't, these prices may not be good. So from somebody who deals with clients and customers all day long, how do you communicate that from what the manufacturers are telling you, plus what your engineering team is telling you, and helping the clients through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think transparency is pretty key here, and you need to be communicating often, not just with your IT directors, your clients, et cetera, but your vendors as well. You need to give them as much real-time information as possible. You need to be proactive. The only wrong way to communicate is by not doing it. So if you know that prices are going to be going up, if you know that the window for pricing being valid is a certain timing, just let the clients know that that is all you can do. You're not expected to work miracles. I mean, maybe sometimes you are, but I've been pleasantly surprised by just some of the clients that I've worked with. If you're letting them know what's going on, that's all you can do that's all that you can do, and they recognize that pretty well.
All right, Dan, when you're talking with both manufacturers as well as integrators, what are they telling you about how they are communicating the volatility of not just pricing, but also of availability? Because the other thing that's not in this article that we probably should throw in here is we are going through a light version of the 2020 pandemic issues with chips. And specifically right now, we're talking about memory, but memory is in darn near everything that we put into conference rooms today. as well as classrooms. How are they handling the situation and getting that information from their suppliers internally and the manufacturers down to the integrators, and then how the integrators handling that for their clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for this Tariff Perspective series, we did 4 pieces so far. So we spoke to the analyst community with Sean Wargo. We spoke to Avi Rosenthal. We spoke to Matt Levine, as you said. We also spoke to Brad Hinsey from Crestron. And Brad was emphasizing the fact that he really does believe that it is essential for Crestron and, by extension for peer vendors to be proactive, to reach out proactively. The integrators are tough enough to get the real medicine, so to speak. Just let them know what's happening so there is not an information vacuum. Because, of course, if the integrator has an information vacuum, the client has that same information vacuum, and an integrator's credibility is on the line in that case. I do just want to underscore, though, the whole idea of chaos or uncertainty, it really is incredibly uncertain right now. And of course, I have no political stake in this. I'm just saying from an analyst point of view, focusing on the industry. So, of course, the Liberation Day tariffs, as you say, were struck down. Then there were these 10% global tariffs that were implemented. There was a threat potentially to make it a 15% global tariff. But then statutorily, they're going to end after 150 days. Can they be extended? Can they not be extended? There is so much uncertainty. I think it makes it feel like the ground is continually shifting under not just integrators' feet, but also vendors' feet, because we literally do not know what is the landscape going to be in July, what is the landscape going to be in August. When I was speaking to Brad, he said right now their tariff surcharge, which is a separate line item surcharge, has remained unchanged. I think net it's pretty much about the same as before the Supreme Court ruling. But, who knows what it's going to look like in July or August. He said that Crestron was prepared to remove that line item if and when the tariff situation resolves itself. And it's heartening for me to hear, because I think you know as well as I do, yes, fuel prices are high now, but there was a time when fuel prices were much, much lower. But we were still seeing those fuel surcharges back from when 5 or 6 years ago, fuel was much, much higher. Sometimes those costs, those surcharges, those tariffs, or whatever it is, can almost be baked in and never disappear. So it's kind of nice to hear a vendor say our intention would be to remove them when it doesn't have to be there anymore. Because I know even when gas was $2.50 a gallon, I was still seeing surcharges for DHL or FedEx for fuel. These things have a pesky way of staying around.
They do. One of the things that I am reminded of is just about a year ago, 1st of April, I was moderating a panel of AV CEOs at a PSNI Super Summit, and Rashid Skah from BIAM. This was the day that the tariffs were supposed to be announced, and I asked, what exactly that they're looking for, what are they hoping for, and Rashid said something that the rest of the panel also agreed with. He said, "I don't care what the tariffs are. I don't. I really don't. From a business standpoint, right? We're not talking a political standpoint. We're strictly talking about a business owner's, a CEO, a president's standpoint. I don't care what they are. I just want them to say what they are and for them to stay put. I want stability, right? I can communicate anything at all. I can make contingency plans. I can do what I need to do, as long as I know the battlefield that I'm sitting on, right? As long as I know the rules of the game, quite frankly, I can make those choices." He said, but what has been happening is this uncertainty, this month it's this percent, this month it's that percent, and you can't make any sort of plans with that environment. So I think that for all of our sites, that is one thing that we are hoping for one way or the other, is some stability there. All right, our second topic, I have down in my notes that we're going to break out our Sherlock Holmes, only because it's a story about something being stolen in the UK. So I think it's funny. The Sherlock Holmes, not the things that are being stolen. Here it is. What happened was a worker, casual shift worker, by the way, at London's Royal Albert Hall stole more than 42,000 pounds. That's a lot of money for those of you who don't know how to do the math. Roughly 50 grand worth of microphones. $50,000 worth of microphones. 58 mics in total in 2 separate incidents. Okay, pause. Not one incident, 2 different instances. This person walked out with a bunch of mics. All right, let's start there. The first happened while he was still employed. Then again, after he was fired, which is where we're going with this. Biggest drop ball here, nobody deactivated his access card. Yeah, which he discovered when he came back for his dismissal appeal, and he walked straight into the storage room.
That's somebody in HR.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's what we're going to get into. It's HR, is it facilities, is it security? What the heck? He was handed a suspended sentence and ordered to repay 8,400 pounds of the 48,000. I am not a great businessman, but that's a good ROI for that person. Don't do that, kids, by the way. That's not a good ROI, because yeah, he has a suspended sentence, but now he has a record. And anyhow, good Lord. Vanessa, we're going to start with you on this. When you're talking to your folks, access control, asset management, how do you have these conversations about things that on the surface can be pretty benign, can be pretty boring? But this story illustrates how much, quite frankly, it can hurt you both financially, but as well as operationally. Because if you suddenly lose 50 some odd microphones, you're not doing whatever it was you were planning on doing that evening. So how do you talk to them about asset management and making sure that Jim Bob's card gets turned off?
Yeah, I mean, it may be a boring conversation, but if this article proves anything, theft doesn't usually look like Ocean's 11. It's just somebody with badge access and a really good poker face. So I used to do work with a pretty big wealth management office, and I had key card access, which was extremely difficult to get. But it was floor specific, room specific, and it auto expired if I didn't use it for a certain period of time. I think it was like every 30 days, if it wasn't used, it would just turn off to everything. And every single access request that I put in required a business case and internal validation. So I don't think security tools are necessarily the problem. It's that you need to have good access control hygiene. So things like badges, key cards, logins, that's all great. But if you don't have the people or processes in place to flip the switch, then they're going to fail. I think one of the biggest drivers in having a good practice of safety is driving company culture. Things like security, you can't just let it live in a policy binder. Teams need to feel empowered to question unusual behavior, report concerns, and just having the general understanding that safeguarding systems protects not just the business, not just the clients, but also the people doing the work. Things like asset control. I mean, this person that worked at, it was Royal Albert Hall. He made it. Yep. He made a very calculated risk. If he had an idea that certain things weren't in place, I mean, that was enough for him to be like, I can probably get away with this. And as you mentioned, he didn't just do it once, he did it twice. So having things like asset management, the tools, security tools in place, and then making people aware of them. I would say if they had better practice around all of those areas, that may not have happened.
Dan, I like having you on for this one this week, but because not only does Dan write is the head editor for Commercial Integrator, but he also runs their sister publication that deals with security. So one of the things that you and I are going to see at ISC West is a whole lot of security, access control, and things of that nature. How does today's integrator talk with the IT manager, and how does today's IT manager take that to their team to say, hey, look, this is an important thing, whether that is, as Vanessa said, asset control as well as access control and upping everybody's access hygiene.
Yeah, I think what you said, Vanessa, was spot on. I think it is about hygiene. I mean, the tools are table stakes. The tools are the bare minimum. You have to use them well. And I appreciate what you said too, Tim. Knowing that IT decision makers, IT technology managers really are kind of running the tech estate at this point. They are the gatekeepers, I think, in a lot of cases, both for those AV budgets and those security budgets. So you have to appeal to them. You have to make the case that if you're going to invest in a full AV technology estate, you need to have the tools to be able to protect that asset so that it can continue to deliver for you and get the ROI you're presuming to get out of that initial investment. I will just say, though, I mean, as you said, Tim, that CI and SSI, Commercial Integrator and Security Sales and Integration, share a common binding now. They're sister brands, but they share a common binding. And what I would say is, I hope that this is maybe an opportunity for AV integrators who specialize in AV gear, whether it's line arrays or whether it's digital signage or whatever it is, to widen their aperture a little bit and also thinking about potential being their client's security provider as well. There is a way to do it. There are companies out there that really do kind of thread the needle between both. They're equally comfortable with digital signage and line arrays as they are with access control panels and video surveillance. They're as fluid with, Bright Sign as they are with Genetec. I know it's a special breed, and sometimes you have to have different teams within the organization. Not everyone can be a jack of all trades and equally competent in everything. But I think it's a pretty compelling proposition if you go in as a master systems integrator and you say, I can handle your full AV estate. I can also handle your security estate, and incidentally, that security estate is going to be able to help you get all the investment that you're planning to get out of the AV technology that I'm installing. I can be your sole source provider. I think everyone wants that one hand to shake or one throat to choke, and I think if you have that combination of skills within your org, either by acquisition or by joint training or just by having a range of technology specialists within your confines, it's a pretty compelling proposition.
Yeah. Jennifer, casual part-time workers are all over campuses today. I would probably argue that they are fewer and far between than they were 15 years ago. That's because of budgets, not because of anything else. But what when you're talking with folks on higher ed campuses, what is their best practices? How are they handling? I'm going to keep using that, Vanessa, because I love that access hygiene thing. Because I'm going to steal that. How are they putting that into practice, right? Or are they just everybody is on the trust method?
It depends on the location. It depends on the campus. If you want to focus on higher ed, it depends on that. It's because if they're large, if they're small, a lot of them though are the trust factor, right? They are hoping that things are not walking out that shouldn't be walking out. Granted, they are asset tagged and they are managed, but a lot of times those aren't asset tagged and managed unless they're over a certain dollar amount. So if you look at just a microphone in this case, the microphone itself could be part of a larger system, but the microphone doesn't get asset tagged because it ultimately could be only $100, let's say. So what do you do? It is just a consistent check at the end of the quarter, at the end of the semester, at the end of the year. Do we have everything that's associated for this room? Did we get everything back that was supposed to be checked out? If somebody checks out or whatever, and did they give it all back? Check. I read this and I'm thinking, man, this is a great opportunity for like Life 360 or Apple AirTags to come off with a little thing you stick on there, and now you have it on an app and you watch.
I don't think that asset management needs to be rocket science. There's really simple things people can put into practice. I mean, just doing the physical in-person audits of what you have, and you could introduce serialized tracking of things like microphones and cameras. And I know some of the clients that I've worked with, they have such a spectacular setup where their networked equipment is connected to a system that if it's disconnected, it sends alerts. Then you get real-time notices of, on one hand, it could just be like a service issue, but on the other hand, combined with things like the badge access to specific floors and rooms and spaces, if you, one, get the alert that something's disconnected, two, you find out something's missing, and then three, you have that safeguard in place of knowing who has access to what floors and what rooms and who went in there when. It really narrows down the search, if you have to do one, on who helped equipment grow legs and walk on out of there. So another point that this article brings up is that theft isn't always some really big job or forced entry or anything like that. It's usually insiders and process gaps, and good security is designed with the understanding that good people can also make bad decisions.
Absolutely. Really quickly before I'll let you guys get out of here. One of the things about this article and just in general that both Jennifer and Vanessa just brought up, the network connected devices, those 100%, and they've been talking to systems for 20 years. Because that was one of the most interesting things when I was first introduced to asset management software, right? And everybody under the sun has it now. But those things were constantly pinging. And so, as Vanessa said, we had a timestamp when it stopped talking to the network, right? When it stopped talking to your system, whatever. And then you can, at that point, go back and go, oh, well, here's the cameras from that hallway, or here's the badge access of what was swiped when. And yeah, there's the projector missing from classroom 1, 2, 3. So yeah, absolutely. All right, gang, thank you so much. Jennifer Weaver, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you? How do they connect with AVWeek?
So best place to get me is on LinkedIn. So I'm Jennifer Weaver. On LinkedIn, you'll see me with the banner with all the sneakerheads on there. If you want to know more about AVWeek, we are at AVWeek, AVIXA.org. And hopefully soon to a podcast station near you. AV Career Mastermind is going to be back up.
We'll have some stuff coming on the pipeline about all our shows here real soon. Vanessa Talazano, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you? How do they connect with CTI?
Thank you, Tim. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's at cti.com.
All right, very good. Mr. Parisi, always good to see you. I'm very blessed I get to see you in person 2 weeks in a row. So how do people connect with you, and how do they connect with both of your publications?
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again at ISC West. So you can find me too on LinkedIn. That tends to be the social platform where I'm most active. You can go to commercialintegrator.com or CEPro.com or securitysales.com for any of the brands in my group. And of course, I hope to see many of you at CEDIA Expo in September. Registration is opening up imminently, and there's going to be a lot of great content there as well. So I can't wait to see you in Denver.
Yeah, and you guys are back in Denver, correct?
Yes, one more year in Denver, and then we have exciting stuff to share after that.
That's exciting. I missed that part. All right, cool. All right, so check that out. For me, for Tim Albright, don't follow me anywhere. If you're interested in things that I write that have nothing to do with technology, you can find me on LinkedIn. So I will say that. But go by the website, if you would, please, AVNation.tv. That is AVNation.tv. You'll find this program and Jennifer's, even though it's the old ones, we're coming out with new ones. But we do have a brand new ed tech with our buddy Aaron Mayer Moran. They are discussing a new report from AVWeek and Audinate's Dante Director Pro. I am headed, as Dan said, to ISC West. I'm also going to be in Vegas. Actually, both of them are in Vegas. So ISC West is in Vegas. Good Lord, I'm spending an awful lot of time in Vegas. March 25th and 26th, and I'll be back in Vegas for NAB in April. And then we'll be back in Vegas for InfoComm 2026. There's a lot of Vegas this year, guys. I don't know. But go by the website if you would. AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hello, this is Steve Greenblatt, host of AVNation's Estate of Control podcast. Each month, Rich Fregosa and I explore trending topics related to control programming and automation in the audiovisual industry. We speak with a variety of AV professionals who share their perspectives, knowledge, and experiences. Please join us for this monthly conversation. Check out Estate of Control on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.